nichts
All
bisher.
right, so that was life in the first person. We're keeping this train running because we got a lunch to get to. Up next is Taking Flight with Jogi, Inez, and more. Let's get it started. Boop.
Kein Touchscreen.
So, jetzt wollen wir mal hoffen, dass hier wenigstens was kommt, wo wir wirklich dann sagen, okay, let's go. Weil bisher, wirklich, ich bin heute, also gestern war ich durchgängig im Hype.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Jogi.
Is my mic on?
Ja.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Ja.
Fine. These are the wrong slides. Hang
Right.
on. Well, hello, everyone. My name is Jogi Klatt. I'm a principal vehicle programmer at Cloud Imperium Games, and I focus on space flight and space combat. I really love my job, so this is why I'm really excited to show you the progress that we did on Squadron 42 in the last 2 years. So there's two things I need to say here. First thing is we're doing a live demo, and the build is about 12 hours old, so there is a good chance. There is a good chance for bugs, which, well, if you see them, just look away. It will be fine.
Lieber ein echtes Live-Gameplay als
I'm not flying myself today. It will be Brent Gunzinger. He's using a setup of 2 VKB sticks, so left and right HOSA setup from VKB, and he's also using the fantastic Toby device. So we'll swap during the presentation between using head tracking and not using head tracking. Yes, so, but the good thing is, the relationship between you and your starship, it doesn't start when you take off, it starts way before that. There's a lot of stuff we do now in pre-flight. So please welcome back Ines Caldas, who will walk us through that process.
Ines nochmal. Die ist wieder gehypt.
Is this working?
Freut sich jetzt.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's a
Kannst du auf alle
privilege
Knöpfe
to
drücken?
be here back on stage to tell you all about what you can expect about the player interaction experience inside your cockpit. If you like, I've told you before how we've been working towards improving the player interaction experience all across our game, and we wanted to bring these improvements to what happens inside the cockpit. So we wanted to give you a greater immersion and okay, yeah, the slides are not, sorry about that. Yeah, so you want to give you a greater immersion and give you a closer experience to what pilots go through in real life, not only when you're flying around your ship, but the moment you take your seat at the cockpit. So to achieve this, we've created when you enter your ship, you'll be put in what we call a new relax pose. So in this pose, you'll have free look enabled, so you can easily look around the cockpit and your dashboard. The prompts will be showing over the buttons, so you can easily find the ones you have to interact, and you, the pilot, have to press all the different buttons to get your ship ready for flying, and the character hands will be lowered away from the control stick. So all of this blends neatly into our new player animated interaction system, whereby any button is now physically pressed. So this new system uses what we call a CDIK approach. This stands for code-driven IK, or inverse kinematics, and gives full control of the IK setup to the code. So this, among other things, allows us to record the path of the hand relative to its target. So we can have more detailed animations than just simply blending the hand into position. So for example, we can open a flap and then press the button. But you know, enough of me talking, let's go jump into the demo and see all of this in action. So now. So Brand very kindly will get us into the ship, while you'll see the new enter sequence. Ja. And you'll see the new animations we have been working on.
Das sah gerade aber ein bisschen aus, als wäre das ein Video, was sie jetzt doch angedrückt hätten, ne?
Das wurde ja mal umgeschaltet auf einen anderen Bildschirm.
Ja, aber da stand Live-Demo und mit dem Play-Symbol auch drin.
So you can see now that you won't directly grab the control stick. You'll be put on this relaxed pose with free look enabled.
That's
and
cool.
You can see the different prompts appear over the buttons. So let's get this show started and get your ship ready for flying. So Brand, if you could close the canopy so we don't
Bauen.
be flying around with that
Bauen
open.
macht, drückt den Button.
Power our systems.
Das ist eine Starfare.
Ah ja, genau. Ja.
Oh, look at that.
Nice.
And finally, turn our entrance.
Nice.
Yeah, so you are now ready for flying.
Das neue
So
UI
we will
sieht so gut aus.
be bringing all of this to all of our ships in our fleet. And that's all from me. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Tony to tell you all about the new UI.
Ja, genau, mal wo. Das ist echt so Top Gun-Vibes, aber halt nicht pre-animated oder pre-programmed Animations finden. Finde ich gut.
Hi everyone, my name is Tony. I'm senior UI programmer here at CIG. And I'm here to explain some of the spoilers that you saw yesterday about our new ship UI. So, are you ready to see the ship UI in action? Right. Bone, play the demo. Brand, continue with the demo. So, as you can see already, this ship has less intrusive UI, with more space to enjoy the stunning vistas that planets can offer, and less cluttered views so you can focus during combat. This also means that the UI elements are now more relevant to the situation, linked to the operator mode. For example, when we change to scan mode, the crosshair has scanning information about your target, and even the MFDs have changed. Some of these elements can be customized, but we'll see more about that later. For this demo, we're showing the UI developed for this Gladius. Basic information related to navigation will always be available on your view, and this Gladius displays all of that with holograms around the dashboard. But other ships may have different layouts and styles, on brand with the manufacturer.
Wo ist meine
For
Helmkamera?
example, the Drake,
so geil
that
fand.
makes more affordable ships, rather than fancy and probably expensive holograms, may use physical screens, dials, and light indicators.
Ja, nice. Das ist geil.
This dashboard shows your current speed, the remaining afterburn, and some decoys available. On both far sides, we have status indicators that will show things like if your landing gear is on or any other flight systems. Worth mentioning that we have prototyped these for the demo, so right now they're holograms, but on the final design, these are going to be physical screens. On the far left, on the top of the dashboard, we have the indicator of which master mode and operator mode are you on. So let's change that to combat and talk about these new MFDs.
Das macht er mit dem Tobi
Das kannst du mit dem
So,
Eye-Tracker machen.
we have
so.
reworked
Ja.
all of these MFDs from scratch with brand new views using our UI technology building blocks. We can still navigate through these MFDs using the classic mouse interaction, holding F and then moving the mouse. On the left here, we can see the scanning view, which is going to show information that you obtain when you scan a target. It may show information about the ship name, the
Kannst
pilot
ausformen.
name, or even the current operator mode of your target, so you know if they're just chilling around or they are ready to fight you. Cycling to the left one, we have the target status, which will focus on emissions, damage, and orientation of your target. We'll see that in action later. The next one, continuing to the left, will be the self status, which is contextual. So during navigation, that will show your current fuel, but during combat, like right now, will show information about your guns. You can click on the gun, and you can see basic information about that.
Nice.
You will see the name, and you can also see in which group they are assigned, which Jogi will explain later. On the
That's
MFD on the
cool.
right side, we have the power management, where we can distribute the power of different systems of the ship. You can click on the triangle and move it around to change the distribution, and you can turn down the total power of the ship that will generate. The classic key bindings that you all know already works, so when you change the power management, you will see now a triangle on top of the radar to show you the changes. Now, instead of using mouse, you can also use key bindings to select MFDs and cycle through the views, which might be faster when you are in certain situations like during combat. And for those pro players out there, we have added about 100 key bindings, and I mean 100, to navigate through all of these systems. So you can fully customize how you want to navigate through them.
Okay.
And I really hope that's more than enough to use on your keyboard, on your HOTAS, or even on your game class setup. But if you need more, just let us know.
Was?
Anyway, I think you're not gonna need even those many shortcuts. For each operator mode, we now persistently save which views are shown on each MFD. So you can customize what's important to you for every situation.
Hatten ja manche Schiffe schon, aber das ist trotzdem geil.
So as an example, during combat, you might want to have target information on your MFDs, but maybe when you change to quantum travel, have your current fuel, spend some time on the configuration screen, for example. Let's talk about this configuration screen. We're going to have now here a variety of options, from customizing UI elements to enable systems of the ship. We may see some of these later in action with Jogi. These settings are now available on this screen, not in the global settings of the game, for quick access. So just as a warning, expect changes on the settings that you already know, but we'll tell you all about it when we have it ready.
Die ziehen das im
the
Prinzip
important
in-game
bit
die
about this is
Einstellung,
that they will persist to your
anstatt dass das
ship.
alles über Options
So you
machen
can
muss.
keep different setup of which UI elements and even ship systems enable for how you personally use each of your ships. Now, some of you might be thinking that these Gladius doesn't have enough MFDs.
Jetzt
Can
macht
we
dein Helm
enable the
endlich
top
an.
setting?
Gott sei Dank. Gott sei Dank.
For those of you
this is-
that you want to see even more information, you can now cast versions of these MFDs to your helmet.
Gott sei Dank.
Ja.
For this, you're going to need to equip the appropriate helmet, so it's connected to your ship and I can get all this information. You can use the key bindings, as I mentioned before, so you can select which cast do you want to control and how to cycle through them.
Das ist für
So you
jeden
can
Segen,
pin
Mabo.
views that are important to you.
Ist egal, ob du einen Tobi
with-
hast oder
with
nicht.
your- that will move with your camera. So as you have seen, if you're aiming at the target or if you're moving with your head tracker, those views are going to be always with you. With all these tools, you can customize your experience and have it ready for every situation that you encounter with your ship, always displaying the relevant information to you. So for example, during combat, you may want to have all the UI elements enabled, all the pips,
Wenn ich
all
einen
the
Tobi
crosshairs,
nutze, brauche ich das
so the
weniger, als wenn ich
information
keinen
of your
nutze.
ship on the physical MFDs, and maybe focus on the target information on your cast, so they're always on your view. But maybe when you go to quantum travel, you can turn those casts off so you can enjoy the vistas. That's all from me. Now we have MFDs ready, and let's bring Jogi back to tell you all about flying your ship. Thank you
Weil
very much.
mit dem Eye-Tracker, wenn ich den anhabe, ja,
Da kannst du schnell runtergucken.
kann ich schnell
ja.
runtergucken. Und das kann ich halt so mit Maus und Tastatur, oder wenn ich so fliege, kann ich das nicht.
Okay, at this
Aber
point
das
our
liegt
ship is
eher
fully,
daran, dass die Schiffe
fully
manchmal
powered
doof
up,
designt sind.
ready to fly. Pre-flight is complete. So Brent, please take off, put the landing gear in and bring us out.
Los geht's. Ja, jetzt will ich was Neues
Have you
sehen.
seen the interaction? This is great, isn't it? Okay, so one of the problems we always have in space games is to produce a sense of speed. Space is big, and the sense of speed is always produced by, you know, small things.
Das ist ja witzig,
going
das hat er
around
mit
you.
mir auf der Bass
So although it's not
gesprochen.
very visible here, the VFX team has actually added space dust, so in the future you can tell where your ship is going, even without looking at instruments. Another thing we're focusing on as well is G-force reactions. So Brent, if you could come to a stop for a second. When your ship is sitting like that, and you strafe left and right, you have these small head motions that basically make your head and your body react to the G-forces they're currently enduring. We're actually increasing them now. We also added rotational G-forces into the mix, so if Brent is now rotating the ship to the left, you also can see that your head is swaying a little bit. Things get a little bit more interesting when Brent is actually taking boost into the mix. So if he now boost forwards, we now added a camera shake, we added FOV changes, and this all then plays together with the other things like, you know, the other exhaustion effects that we have. So overall, the ship should now feel a little bit more reactive than before.
Ich hoffe, man kann das ausstellen, weil
The
es
same
gibt
thing-
sehr viele Leute,
Sorry.
die Motion Sickness bekommen bei sowas.
At the same time, we reduce the extensions that that the look-ahead code is doing. So we basically narrowed it down a little bit so it mixes better with G-force reactions, so that even when you don't have a head tracker or something like that, it will still feel pretty good. But this is just a minor change. We also improved the flight controls themselves. So take a look at the speed gauge, for example. It's a little bit twitchy today. What that speed gauge is telling you, the number that's currently moving, is what kind of speed goal Brent is actually putting in. If he puts his stick all the way forward, the left one, you will now be able to see and read the number that you're asking IFCS to speed and forward momentum. This also allows us to bring back the sticky throttle we had pre 3.5, where now, if you play with mouse and keyboard, you can press W and S to increase and decrease your speed and let go of the key, and the ship will not automatically come to a stop. Of course, this is all completely configurable, so you can enable that or not if you want.
Das war gut für Maus- und Keyboard-Spieler.
Oh. Okay, Brent, give me some hard flying now, like blackout and all that. Okay, so another thing we changed in the flight model is that we actually looked at the tricoding exploits. These are really important for PvP and racing players among you, because tricoding gives us a mathematical problem that we're trying to resolve. On some ships, when you tricode, you get actually up to 50% more acceleration. That huge difference actually makes a lot of the ship difference meaningless, so we're cutting back on those. So a first implementation of that is already available in the Mastermode testing areas in 3.21, I think, but we're improving the algorithm right now so that it actually is less punishing in future Mastermode builds. This is actually a current version, so as long as you go roughly forward, you get the full Gs from your back engines. Okay, so now the biggie in the room. We're talking Mastermodes. Mastermodes is by far the biggest change we're doing on the ship gameplay. In general, all of your ships will be put into, or will get a Mastermode setup. And the Mastermode is affecting basically everything surrounding everything on the ship. The ship itself, the flight model a little bit, but specifically the items and what they do. And there are two Mastermodes we're going to talk today about. One is SCM, which stands for Space Combat Maneuvering, and the other one is Navigation. So let's look into SCM. SCM is the mode that Brent currently has active. So you see the, Brent, can you go into the indication, please, for the master mode? Just point with the mouse there, if you can. Yeah, so this is your current master mode. It says SCM. When you use SCM for basically all the gameplay that is not traversal. So combat, mining, salvaging, you're using it for that. You have full access to your combat system. Your shields are working, your thruster boost is fully active, your weapons are working. It's the high performance, high alertness mode that you're in. However, we will heavily restrict how fast we can go. We can go with your ship. Okay, Brent, go to full max speed. So the Gladius on max speed and SCM can reach about 225 meters per second. That might seem slow compared to what you have in the Pew right now, but it's still pretty fast. However, you can extend that speed. Brent, if you just go forward and boost. So the Gladius can extend up to 550 meters per second. On this slide here, you can see the speed spaces we're talking about. So if you're just flying around in SCM, which is like the max speed of your ship, you can reach the 225 meters per second. If you boost, you can reach up to 500 or 550. However, that boost space is not spheric. That means if you boost forward, you reach higher speeds than if you boost backwards. That is really important for space combat maneuvering, or for dogfighting in general, because it discourages backstrafing. It actively actually punishes backstrafing, and it creates more interesting combat maneuvers. The PvP players among you, they basically call this encouragement to closing the gap, which is basically more forward-centric combat, which is much more exciting than backstrafing and just trying to get some shots on. Yep. It also forces you as combat players to commit to the decisions you did earlier in the fight. So it's going to be, we think it's much more exciting. Okay. So, in short, you pick SCM when you need to fight, when you want to fight, or when you need to fight, right? The thing with the master mode switches is that they do not happen instantly. They take a while to move over. So we're now going to put our ship into the second mode, which is navigation. So navigation mode is basically the opposite of SCM. What this does, it gives you a high-speed, low-performance mode. Your shields, they will collapse. Your weapons will not be able to fire. Your defensive systems will not be functional. But you have higher speeds. So in nav mode, you can still reach the speeds of what you have currently in the PU, something, I mean, depending on the ship, sometimes 1,000 meters or 1,400 meters per second. But all your regenerative systems, so regenerating the weapon capacitor, your thruster boost, will be inhibited. So this means when you want to go fast, you need to be very, very careful when you want to swap over. So imagine you're in a fight.
Sogar mit dem
and you want to
High-Dodgen, dass man
escape.
das die ganze Zeit sieht.
You should not do it right away, because if you just swap to navigation mode in the hope to flee, you are being left with no shields. And the first thing that will go offline when you are hitting with distortion guns is the quantum drive. And that is important, because the quantum drive will spool automatically up when you enter nav mode, and it will then unlock the higher speeds. So this means when you're in nav mode and you're fighting, you're very vulnerable, so you should get out as fast as possible. Luckily, navigation mode not only allows you higher speed, but also gives you access to the new quantum travel experience, which we're going to show in a minute. So that is nav point that you see there on screen. This is the point where I want to go to and quantum travel to. Before we do that, I need to quickly explain what this is about. So currently in the PU, when you quantum travel from A to B, you're actually not really moving. You're going on a spline, and you're teleported in every frame along that spline. So there's basically no meaningful gameplay we can add there. The new quantum travel experience is fully physicalized. Physics is always on, which means when you quantum travel from A to B, you're actually accelerating using our awesome physics engine. And because it's physicalized, it gives us a lot more meaningful gameplay we can play with. So Brent will start the quantum travel in a second. What will happen then is your quantum drive will initiate the jump. You will see an effect that distorts the space around you, and you will accelerate forward. During the acceleration process, and so this is the time until you actually reached your cruise speed, the ship will experience forces, and you as a player, you're responsible to counter these forces. So there is an element of failure. Okay, Brent, let's show that.
Okay. Got to be safe.
And take your hands off.
Oh, er schmiert ab.
Ja, hat ja die Hände rausgenommen.
Fällt. Okay.
Okay. Jetzt bin ich wieder hooked für heute.
Okay. Maru, ich glaube, das geht in die Richtung auch mit dem Quantum Jump Tunnel. Da kommen wir bestimmt noch hin. Ich hoffe es.
So what you just saw is basically the failed attempt to quantum travel. Brad wasn't countering the forces, therefore he was thrown out, the quantum bubble collapsed and threw you out. Your ship doesn't like that. IFCS needs 5-6 seconds to recover from that, during which time you're just tumbling, right? So and this is not just like dependent on your skills. If you think selecting a proper quantum drive doesn't matter in the future, think again. If you want to take care of your quantum drive, you want to repair it and keep it in good shape. So if you buy a cheap one, your travel will not necessarily be faster, but it might be harder. Okay, so Brent shows how it's done properly.
Ich glaube, wir wollten einfach die Animation noch ein paar Mal heute zeigen.
Ja.
Er lenkt gerade mit, ne? Man sieht es richtig.
Er muss im Punkt drin bleiben. Und wie lange das auch dauert, bis er jetzt wirklich weg ist.
Wenn du jetzt einen Sprung hast, der...
Bubble locked. Okay, jetzt hat das.
Jetzt hat das, ja.
The bubble is locked. You can now go hands off.
Aber das ist geil. Das ist richtig geil. Das ist so ein kleines Minigame, was es so viel geiler macht. Gut aus!
Oh, nice.
Und die Sounds, Alter!
Ja, die Sounds sind auch geil.
There's a second variant of quantum travel, and this is for short-range jumps. Sometimes you jump somewhere or you go somewhere, and you see the next point of interest is like 1,200 kilometers away. We're not going to force you anymore to travel that by hand. You will use a technique called quantum boosting. It's a quantum-based short-range jump for like something between a couple of hundred kilometers to
darüber habe ich ihn ausgefragt.
like 30,000
Hat
kilometers or
Hat er nichts
so.
gesagt, nee.
When you use quantum boosting, the process is practically the same, but the quantum bubble will not stabilize itself, so you need to be hands-on for the whole time, and the speeds are naturally, well, slower, but it's not slow, it's still quantum traveling, right? Okay, so Brent, can you boost to... Oh, reinforcement needed. Yeah, let's go there. Let's boost. Oh, actually, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so what Brent is currently showing here is, I think I forgot to mention,
springt einfach
quantum
irgendwo
boosting
hin.
works in every direction.
Springt
You
aber
don't need nav
irgendwo hin.
points.
Nice. Ja.
Springt einfach irgendwo hin.
Nice. Ja,
Brent is awesome, thank you.
Novia, ich glaube,
Okay,
das ist
so now, please boost to
Squadron 42.
reinforcements
Ja,
needed.
das ist, wenn Dings rauskommt.
So if there's nav point
Wenn
and you boost, your quantum travel system will
Mastermodes
pick
halt
that
komplett
nav point to
fertig
go
ist.
to.
Ja, genau. Mhm.
Welcome to Pyro 3. As you can see, there's a lot of UI happening right now. There's a lot of context there.
Ja.
And this is not an online demo.
Rote
it's
und
a
grüne
single player,
Marker.
so that means
Ja,
all these
ja.
units there. They're friendly and hostiles. They're probably fighting with each other.
Man kann
which is a
endlich
good segue to
unterscheiden.
talk about AI improvements. And there's one man who can tell you all about AI. This is the man with the nicest legs at CIG. Well, please welcome Diego Marty Mason.
Ich dachte Jared. Der hatte mir auch sehr, sehr nice Legs.
Ego. Nicest legs. Der ist ein guter Entwickler.
So who's excited to see the new AI changes? Hi everyone, as Jogi said, my name is Diego Marty Mason and I am the AI programmer focusing on the fly combat. Over the past year, we've been working on delivering a thrilling experience to the AI encounters.
Mein Hund
Let me
getreten.
first walk you through our journey. We first started looking at the current AI behavior in the PU. We quickly realized how uniform fighting was and how we were not using all of the tech available to us to make a more interesting experience. We had the foundations and we wanted to learn more about how you, the players, do your combat encounters in the verse. So we did this by getting combat recordings, analyzing videos, and internal playtesting, where we were hammering each other for hours. It was fun, unless you went up against experienced fighters like they are. Anyway, with all of these data, we started crafting the first prototype, with the focus of bringing that human behavior into the AI brain. When the first version was ready to be tested, I handed it out to one of the best internal pilots in the team, Jogi. So Jogi, what do you think about my first prototype?
It was an exercise of humility. It was an exercise of humiliation. I hated it, and I blame Diego.
So this was due to the AI being able to keep a good range control and a perfect orbit around their target while maintaining a constant firing solution. Come on, it's a computer. We learned a lot from our initial prototype, and it really helped us to define what we wanted to deliver. A combat experience where the AI, yet challenging, makes mistakes, just like us, humans. We want players to leave every combat encounter with a feel of satisfaction by encouraging you to keep on the move and make use of the vehicle systems available to you, so you can at least try to win the fight. Let's see how we brought this new iteration of combat to life. We broke down in multiple stages. The first one, interception. Then the main engage phase, which we broke in different tactics: strafer, jouster, chaser, and finally, disengage. Let's switch to the demo. As you can see, Brent has encountered a skirmish. Let's talk more about the combat flow there.
Live team, okay.
Okay, we will start with interception. After acquiring the target, the primary aim is to close the gap with the target. If the AI is already near the target, the interception phase is skipped completely. If it's too far, it will tell the AI to use the new Mastermodes to swap into navigation mode and make use of the full speed to chase. Swapping back to SCM mode when we are in a striking distance. That leads us to our second phase, engage. Here the AI selects an adequate tactic based on combat environment. These are choosing via the traits and tactic selector system. You've heard more about them in the previous talk by Francesco.
Wie lange fighten die eigentlich gegeneinander?
So let's talk about the
wahrscheinlich auch
strafer.
God-Mode.
As this is a 6 degrees of freedom game, it's the natural combat shape adopted by pilots. We have related the same behavior to our AI, ensuring also that orbits are closed and adding variations to include rolling. Strafers will break combat if they cannot keep an orbit. So now we see how the hammerhead is being attacked by hornets. These hornets are jousters. Jousters consist of performing straying attacks whilst outputting a lot of firepower, blowing through, smooth turning, and repeating. We added variations for the more skilled pilots, like skid roll attacks, that provide a spiral-like flight path. Jousters are also good at monitoring for back strafers, so if they cannot get into strike distance, they will just break. And finally, the chaser. Now, Brain is going to get there in a second, but the chaser is going to be the cutlass, which is following one of the hornets and is allied with the hammerhead. Now, we are really far away, 10 kilometers. So the chaser, it will try to always stay on the target 6. The idea is to force the target into a defensive stance by making them turn into the chaser. This maneuver will be seen mainly in squads and atmosphere
Sie fliegen da
combat.
rum und gucken sich NPCs an,
The
die da
final
kämpfen.
phase, which can happen at any time,
Das hier ist jetzt der
depending on
Chaser.
the combat situation, is disengage.
Der versucht
This
halt
phase
immer
is
Die
hinter der
können,
Hornet zu
triggered based
bleiben.
on
in
constantly
der
listen to
Live-Demo können
multiple
die
events in
anderen
parallel.
einschalten. Okay.
To name a
Genau, die
few,
schalten nur auf
critical
in die
health,
Kamera.
damage to
Yes.
shields, or weapons depleted.
Hätten sie es mal aufgenommen.
There is also a shorter version of disengage that we call pace breaks, which occurs during long periods of combat due to fatigue, nature of the combat encounters. These pace breaks are short, and the main objective is to perform a simple maneuver to gain a new advantage position and strike again. This new flow is what encompasses the core of our new AI fly combat experience, in combinations with AI traits that will give designers the tools to tailor each combat encounter in the verse. Like, for example, they can choose the ace traits that will allow AI pilots to make use of all of the ship's angular velocity so they can keep a more precise orbit. So for some of you out there, it's going to be a good challenge. While we've been mainly focusing on fighter behavior, we've also started to follow the same process to other ship types, like gunships and capitals. In the near future, we want to deliver an experience where going against a capital ship like an Idris is a tough fight, that unless you bring the right combinations of tools, meaning ships that are equipped to take down capital ships, you will get demolished by their powerful turrets. Now, after all of the feedback, in our first internal playtest, we've received a lot of constructive and positive feedback. And Yogi's not longer being destroyed by the AI, so I think he likes it a bit more. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the new AI. And back to you, Jogi.
Ja, was aber cool ist, ist halt, dann können die halt wirklich den NPCs Trails geben und du darfst ja nicht vergessen,
Thank
die
you,
NPCs
Diego.
der Quanta, also die...
Okay, so now we're going to talk
Wenn du
about,
den wieder siehst, weißt du,
we
wie er
heard about
kämpft.
how AI makes my life hard. Now let's talk about how to return the favor. We're talking weapons. So, the weapon and aiming systems in squadrons, they went through a lot of changes. I can only mention a couple of them, so I will go through them relatively quickly. First thing on our to-do list is basically weapon tuning. At the moment, almost all weapons in the PU are practically the same. In Squadron, that's not the case. Almost all weapons have different properties. They have like different projectile velocities, different DPS numbers. But they're not just different in terms of these numbers. They also feel different. Remember the cinch cannons from like a couple of years ago? They were very powerful weapons, but they were extremely easy to use, which made them meta weapons. So we're going to bring the cinch cannon back, but we make sure that the amount of work you put into these cannons in order to employ them is on par with the other guns. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to do to make sure that weapons have a lot of pros and cons and avoid meta. Specifically for this build, Brent is equipped with a I think a close and burner laser repeater. Can you fire it once? Yeah. And the other weapon he has is he has 2 weapons on the wings, which are Getz cannons, size 3. With 1 push, they're actually firing 2. So we're also gonna have burst weapons and so on. Okay, cool. So a problem we have in space games is controlling the engagement ranges, because we want to bring the fights close. But the problem is that, well, how do I put this? Weapons, usually, in order to bring them close, what the game devs usually do is they just restrict the ranges. Like in the PU, a lot of the weapons have exactly a range of 1,400 kilometers, which means often the fights occur at 1,399 meters. This is not a good way for us to control the weapons. And we tried out things like damage fall off, so that bullets get more damaging the closer you are. But the problem there is, how do you communicate that to the player? So we're going to do a couple of different things with that in the future. Let's see when the graph comes on. Okay, so show of hands or show, which of you has an Ares? Okay, as an Ares pilot, you might know the following problem. You have a target. You're going to aim at it. And then you... This is... What the... Okay, I need to go back. Okay, there's actually some stuff not there anymore, I don't know. What happens when you aim with your crosshair over the pip is that you actually not aiming at the pip. The legacy system gives you a pip which does not show you where the weapon needs the pip. The new aiming system actually produces the pips based on where the weapon sees them and reprojects them on the target. That means the aiming information you're getting is actually much, much more precise. And this is a very interesting, sorry, I said the completely wrong thing. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Okay, controlling weapon ranges, sorry.
Jogi,
I'll do it now, sorry.
Naja, das ist das größte Ding überhaupt.
Ich weiß, vor allem hat er alles im Kopf, der weiß alles einfach.
Okay, controlling ranges.
Von einem Jahr bis
In
jetzt.
the future, all the weapons will get much, much longer ranges. Size 1 weapons will fly to up to 5 or 6 kilometers before the despawn. The way how we do this, is we're adding spread. Because spread is for us is a very good indication on how to control the ranges. This is not a one-to-one relationship there, so don't worry, you won't get like spread with like 20 degrees offset or something like that. Don't worry, right? But if we compare the spread of the weapon with the target size, we know when the weapon is in range. We know when you actually are close enough so that the majority of your hits can hit, and we're telling you that via the aiming system now. So Brent, let's go back to the demo. If you get a green pip and a green crosshair, it means you have a high chance of your weapons hitting the target.
Okay.
If Brent takes a little bit of a step back and waits until the pips and the crosshair turn red, this does not mean that the ship is out of range. You can still hit it, but you might waste bullets. This also has the benefit that, I'm not sure if you saw that before, but if you look at how many bullets are in the air, you're actually getting a lot of bullets, a lot more bullets, and it just looks a lot better. Okay, Brent, just kill these guys now. Bam!
Okay, ja klar. Easy.
Okay, so.
Size 100-Waffe mal kurz draufgesetzt.
A thing you might have seen
ja, die haben wahrscheinlich einfach wenig Leben und machen keinen
Brent
Schaden.
is loaded with size 3 guns on size 3 gimbals. That means we're removing the M-1 system. The reason for that is the original intention of like controlling the performance between joystick and mouse players just didn't work out, and the new aiming system is flexible enough to deal with these differences. So we're just removing it and keep going. So, next point, pip grouping. If you have different weapons with different projectile velocities, you will get different pips. Because merging the pips makes no sense for us anymore, because the weapons are going to have vastly different projectile speeds. So if Brent, for example, enables all the weapons now,
ja, oder sie machen Size 1 Gimbal drauf, Mabu.
So let's talk a bit about pip optimizations here. And this is the thing I messed up before. Again, who is an Ares? If you aim at your target, you get a pip, right? Your Ares owners know that. You aim at the pip, you shoot, you miss. And this is because the pip is not being shown where you need it. In the future, we're actually offsetting the pip where the weapon sees it and then reproject this onto the crosshair.
Mimi, vielen
like
Dank
that. And when you then hit,
für die Mitgliedschaft auf YouTube.
No, when you then shoot, you hit. And this is, of course, also communicated by the aiming system. So when the pips turn green and when the crosser turns green, just shoot. Okay, so now to the actual best part. We cannot take down this hammerhead. It's too big for us. But we can cripple it. The weak points on the hammerhead are the turrets. The way we're going to do this in the future is with precision targeting mode. Brent?
Right.
Enable precision targeting mode. There we go. What this does, it does three things. You get this full zoom on the target. You get a lower RPM of your weapons, which increases or decreases the spreads for more precision. Nice. And you get the painting mechanic. Anywhere where you put your crosshair on that ship, it will tell the gimbal system where to aim at. So if Brent now attacks the turrets,
nice.
Your aiming system will automatically lead the shots. Bam! One turret down.
Nice.
Wieso hat jeder Turret jetzt Schilde?
Okay, das sind die Schilde vom Schiff, glaube ich.
Wieso?
This hammerhead now
understood
that it's not good. It doesn't stand a chance right now. But this will be the way how you in the future will fight against sub-targets and so on. The good thing about this, it also works even without painting the target directly, so you can do very, very precise warning shots. And there's no aim assist that kind of like destroys your aiming processes. Okay, so the fight is now over. Sorry, I need to rush this.
Also was ich bisher ganz kurz, kann ich ja mal sagen, ich habe sehr viel Arena Commander gespielt und sehr viel Gladius gegen Gladius.
Okay, Brent, switch to nav mode.
Wenn du im Gimbal-Mode da
spielst,
bist du komplett am Sack. Also gegimbelt triffst du da gar nichts.
So Pyro 3 is also called Bloom.
Das möchte ich nur ganz kurz sagen.
It's a very big planet with a nice
atmosphere. Das muss
schon
ein sehr, sehr, sehr weiterführendes Bild sein als das, was wir gerade haben, weil du triffst absolut nichts gegimbelt. Du musst steif spielen. Also fix.
Oh well, something's wrong with the throttle. We'll try to go down as fast as possible though. Also I think they might have bugs.
Atmosphäre fliegen, oder?
Bitte?
Ach ja, jetzt. Und ich dachte, sie werden langsamer, weil sie in die Atmosphäre fliegen, weil der gesagt hat, sie sind zu langsam.
Nee, er war im SR-Modus.
Ja, steeper angle, that works.
Das dauert ja ein bisschen, bis dann alles aufgeht.
Okay, so the thrusters on your ship, they do like the vacuum of space. We're talking spaceships here, right? And we have thruster efficiency curves on these thrusters. So at some point, especially the MEF thrusters, they will cease working because they don't like atmosphere. They will overheat very, very quickly. So there's the question, what happens when you go down to a planet and you want to rotate your ship with your thrusters off?
Ja.
Well, we'll see. Can you go to external view?
Flügel. Flügel,
Can
Flügel.
you waggle your tail?
Waggle, genau, acht auf die Klappe. Siehst du? Jawohl. Da sind die Klappen.
Die hat aber die Corsair nicht.
Doch, natürlich hat die Klappen.
Back first person?
Dingsklappen, Steuerklappen.
Okay, so what you see here is the new aerodynamics model. Because obviously our left stick is somewhat damaged or so, we can't be as fast as we want. Actually, Brent, can you try W and S on the keyboard instead? Oh, it doesn't work. Oh. No, it doesn't. Yep. Okay. No, the stick is affecting us. Okay. Anyways, we're going to go down as fast as possible. So the new aerodynamic system is a complete replacement of the aerodynamic system that you currently have, and you need your control surfaces to actually turn the ship around. It simulates the airflow over your lift surfaces, and therefore, the slower you become, the less effective those control surfaces will be in order to turn your ship. So we can demonstrate this. So if Brent just sits here and yaws left and right, you will see he cannot go further than that. That is in line with what real airplanes also experience when they're trying to use the rudder to yaw left and right. So what Brent can do here is he can roll and he can pull to actually change
also so wie man einen Jäger fliegt.
Ein Flugzeug fliegt, ja.
Warum jubeln denn alle? Das macht man doch derzeit auch.
Just for this demo, we added a button. The button is called Thruster Disconnect. Because at the moment in the PU, when you go through a planet, you're using the thrusters to rotate. We're not doing that anymore. So Brent, disconnect the thrusters, please, and put the ship into a purposeful stall. A stall happens when the airflow over a wing ceases. or over a lift surface ceases. And then at some point you will not have any authority anymore, and your ship will not turn and so on, and you will basically fall out of the sky. That is naturally a state that every plane wants to avoid naturally, right? And this is happening right here. Brent is not able to use the control surfaces right now because the ship is in a process of stalling. However, the airflow will pull the nose back into the wind, and once you have enough speed, he can actually, well, he gets authority back over these control surfaces.
That's cool.
That means for you as players, what you can actually do, you can do aerobraking, you can do pure gliding if you want to. You can even do like competitions, like, I don't know, like drop ships out of orbit and then see how far they glide. This is all possible with a new system. So let's talk about the problem.
Vorher ist nicht
How do you come to a stop
geglitten,
now?
Mabu. Das war jetzt gerade.
To come to a stop,
die Kurve,
with the new
die geflogen
system,
ist, das musst
you
du
need to
jetzt auch
purposefully
schon
put
machen.
the ship into a stall.
Mit einem
But
Fighter.
don't worry, when we don't have the
da gibt's
thrusters
keinen
disconnected, IFCS will help you. So you're gonna bring down the speed more and more until you're reaching stall speed, which is about now, and then the thrusters will kick in and catch you. That means, however, you are now in a state that the thrusters don't like, right? So at the moment we have turned this up, but in the future you will not be able to hold this for long. So if Brent, for example, now from a hover, strafe is left, more left, more left, more left. The wind flow again pulls the ship over, and you go forward again.
Nice.
Okay, so now Brent, now show us how to come to a hover, and do we have some water here? Oh yeah, there's our point, okay. Highway to...
Ja, Top Gun. Ja. Einfach nochmal kurz reinbringen.
Okay, so there's our landing point. Can become a little bit slower, I don't know, 100 meters per second. So we're trying to land somewhere here. Whoa, look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that water is great, like, awesome. Okay, so now we're coming to a, so now Brent will try to land with a broken throttle. And yeah, he's aided a little bit here by the landing gear, so he has landing gear out, I think, because that automatically enables precision mode at the moment, so that you're a little bit slower, but you can of course like turn this off as a player. And then you come smoothly down to a landing. The best way to land your ship is in decoupled, because you can just like very smoothly land it on the surface. And clunk. And now you're gonna power down the ship using the new interactions. Engines off first. Then we're in the relaxed pose again, as Ines showed before. Power off. And the canopy off. No, open, not off. Don't put the canopy off.
Geht auch.
And get out of the ship. And probably go for a swim or something. Okay, that was a bit of a buggy, bumpy ride, but thank you for taking the time with us. And we'll see you in the verse. Thank you.
Okay, war okay. Wie gesagt, bisher haut mich
Thank you so
nicht,
much,
nicht so
Jogi.
viel um.
Everybody,
heute.
it's time for lunch. We'll be back around 2:45. So
Ja,
get yourself some
stimmt.
food, get yourself some drinks, give yourself some snacks, stretch your legs,
Das
and then
machen
be
wir.
back in Hall A when we come back, because from this point forward, you're not going to want to be anywhere else.
Okay.
We'll see you at 2:45, everybody. Take care.
Das will ich für dich hoffen, Jared, weil bisher bin ich enttäuscht von dem Tag. Also nicht enttäuscht, aber gestern war halt so ein absoluter Abriss. Gestern war alles so unendlich krass und heute ist es halt Ja, wir haben halt hier 2, 3 Sachen gezeigt und gemacht und die sind wichtig und die sind richtig, aber das ist halt nicht so... Also, wenn das jetzt die CitizenCon gewesen wäre, wäre ich halt nicht so hyped und würde halt sagen, ja, war gut, aber waren halt super viele Sachen, die ich halt auch schon in ESCs oder in Star Citizen Lives gesehen habe.
Genau, also vor allem dieser Tag ist einer, wo sie viel mehr Sachen gezeigt haben, wenigstens von denen wir vorher wussten oder die wir sogar so oder so ähnlich schon gesehen haben. Gestern war das ein bisschen weniger, da war es nur so vielleicht mal das Feuer, wie gesagt, oder vielleicht, und selbst da waren es frühere Modelle einfach, die wir gesehen haben, wenn wir was gesehen haben. Ja. Und wussten nur von manchen Sachen, da arbeiten die dran, wie Wassertech und so, hatte ich ja vorhin schon gesagt. Aber das ist heute eher so ein Recap von, also eher ein Sprint-Report rückblickend.
Genau. Pulsar, ich wünsche dir einen wunderschönen Abend. Hau rein. Also ich glaube wirklich, wenn Jared das jetzt sagt, dass jetzt gleich das abgeht in einer Dreiviertelstunde ungefähr, dann geht's richtig los. Ja, da bin ich fest von überzeugt und dann werden wir auch hyped sein und so. Aber jetzt, es war gut. Das neue Flugmodell ist gut. Wie gesagt, du lenkst einen Fighter jetzt auch schon so, aber wahrscheinlich ist es dann musst du ihn so lenken. Ja, jetzt musst du ihn noch nicht so lenken, aber ich glaube, für die Leute,
besser,
die halt...
wenn du es jetzt machst.
Genau, du hast halt viel besseres Kurvenverhalten jetzt, derzeit dadurch. Ja. Und dann musst du es halt machen. Dann ist das halt quasi Pflichtprogramm, ansonsten reißt es dich halt weg durch alles Mögliche.
Und das ist halt das Ding, ich glaube, das merkt man nur besser, wenn man es spielt, aber wenn du halt so eine Flugzeugsim schon mal gespielt hast und du versuchst nur mit dem Quellruder das zu machen, dein Flugzeug geht nur bis da und dann bleibt es stehen. Es macht einfach nichts mehr weiter, das bleibt so, weil der Wind von vorne zu stark ist, da kommt das nicht gegen an.
Fährst du quer, siehst du mehr, oder wie heißt das, ne?
Genau. Und genau, und das ist halt das, was glaube ich, an den neuen Flugmodellen in der Atmosphäre cool wird, aber auch das außerhalb, finde ich. Wie gesagt, wir haben sie zwar schon in den Experimental Modes, aber halt, wenn die erstmal komplett auf alle Schiffe die Mastermodes verteilt haben, dann wird es interessant.
Genau, das ist es nämlich. Wir müssen das auf mehreren Schiffen haben. Auch jetzt dieses ins Schiff einsteigen, die Knöpfe drücken und so, das ist cool. Das machst du 2, 3 Mal und danach drückst du trotzdem wieder auf dem Keyboard die Sachen und fertig.
Wenn ich es richtig gesehen habe, kannst du die Keyboard-Buttons trotzdem drücken, er macht nur halt trotzdem die Animation.
Ja, er macht dann halt die Animation, aber es ist halt...
Das ist nur cool.
Es ist schön, einfach um mal einzusteigen und die Immersität ein bisschen mehr zu spüren, definitiv. Der Quantum Drive, der neue, ist der absolute Hammer. Also der ist wirklich richtig genial. Ich finde es auch geil, dass du nicht einfach so, okay, ich starte jetzt den Quantum und dann geht's los, sondern du musst jetzt erst dafür noch arbeiten. Ich hatte Angst, dass du den kompletten Quantumsprung durchziehen musst, weil das wäre absolut krank, wenn du so einen Sprung hast, der 20 Minuten geht. Da hast du einfach keinen Bock mehr irgendwann drauf. Ja. Aber so finde ich das sehr, sehr geil, dass du das Initiieren dieses Sprunges erstmal quasi so einleitest. Finde ich mega gut. Die neuen Waffen, die neuen Waffen-Sounds, der neue Recoil und das Ganze, was um FPS-Modus geht, war jetzt nicht super beeindruckend, weil man davon eben schon viel gehört hat. Wie du gesagt hast, das sind halt Sachen, die wir schon gehört haben, wo wir wussten, da kommen die Änderungen und so. Und das ist auch was du gespielt haben musst. Das ist jetzt nicht einfach, okay, ich hab's gesehen, jetzt finde ich super cool, sondern ich muss da das selbst einmal gesehen haben und selbst gespielt haben, um das zu fühlen. Auch die neuen NPCs, wie die sich verhalten und so weiter und so fort. Und ja, also generell das neue hier Button drücken und sowas, ist ziemlich cool. Und Highlight bisher heute ist natürlich jetzt der letzte Teil mit Quantumsprung und Co. Finde ich mega gut. Bärte sind natürlich cool, aber ist jetzt noch nicht so, dass ich heute jetzt sagen würde, ey, das hat mich komplett vom Hocker gehauen.
Genau, also ich würde sagen, sowas wie das Haarsystem hat mich überrascht. Schon. Ja. Also muss ich sagen, okay, krass, da sind sie wieder über sich hinaus gegangen und haben nicht einfach nur mehr vom Alten, sondern was komplett Neues gemacht. Aber es ist jetzt auch eben nichts, also das ist halt was, das machst du mal und dann hast du es halt und dann hast du eben danach nur noch einen Helm an wahrscheinlich. Also das ist jetzt nicht so schlimm. Ja. Aber es ist schon cool, dass du es machen kannst auf alle Fälle, dass du da reingehen kannst.
Ja, genau,
Scanning weiß ich nicht mal, ob sie das gesagt haben.
Ich gucke gerade mal, ob das vielleicht jetzt noch kommen könnte.
Ne, Mabo sagte gerade eben schon, dass es
Destination
sich nach Exploration anhört.
Also,
ja, dass sich das halt nach Exploration ein bisschen anhört.
Ja,
kann sein.
Da wird es dann wahrscheinlich kommen, ja.